What's up, good people, and welcome back to my channel where we bond over our favorite TV shows, trending topics, and everything in between that we care about. So today, what we care about is our dear Auntie Wendy is back in the hot topics again. And for some time now, we've been actually hearing and seeing that Wendys Health has been declining over the past couple years. The question now is, are we at the point of no return? Now, according to news personality Ton Don, who I actually hadn't heard of until this particular situation or this breaking news. So I'm still trying to figure out, since he's being credited as the source who broke this story on a national level, I'm trying to figure out how credible this dude is. But nevertheless, I'm still going to give my commentary on this information based on what we know as rumor, what we know as rumor as of the date of this recording. So according to the latest information out there, Wendy Williams is now confined to a wheelchair, and on top of that, there's also speculation that she is now suffering from the early onset of dementia. Now, I will say, when you really think about it, unfortunately, neither one of these rumors sound so far-fetched based on what we've seen and heard about Wendy's life over the past few years. Like, even on her show, over the past couple years, we saw how her health was declining in a way that it was becoming a struggle for her with each passing season to even walk from the doors to her purple chair. And she went from basically running there and galloping to basically almost seeming like she was teetering her way to the chair, trying not to really fall. And it became very noticeable towards the end. Well, and I said the end, but I guess I'm trying to say recently, because I don't know if this is the end. And I don't want to put an end stamp on it until it becomes official. But you guys know what I'm saying. Like, in the last shows that she actually was on her show to record, it was, very obvious that it was really hard for her to get to that purple chair. And even in the documentary, for those of you who saw the documentary after her Wendy Williams Experience movie biopic, even in the documentary, part of the interviews she did laying on her sofa in her penthouse apartment, and she was even then in a kind of, I think it was a lymphoma leg machine, like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but she was basically in some kind of machine that was supposed to be helping with her blood circulation and trying to keep the swelling down out of her legs. And to me, the fact that she even did that on camera probably says that she didn't have much of an option on that particular day when they were shooting. Like, maybe she just really had to, have that procedure. Maybe she couldn't even walk that day. And in terms of thinking of the possibilities of onset dementia, when we look at the show for probably past 3 to 4 years, we can point to cringe-worthy moments, and especially in the past year or so, where we would watch those hot topics. And I know I wasn't the only one at the end, like, what did I just watch? What was she talking about? What was this? And if you kind of think about it, it was sometimes just shows of her rambling. And I, at the time, was attributing it to possible, drug alcohol use, but, also just maybe being delirious to a degree from, like, having a mental break or something. So now, knowing that it could have been, onset of early dementia, doesn't seem far-fetched. So I don't know about y'all, but for me, this stuff seems probable. Like, it's possible. It's possible that all of this is true, and it's finally tying it all together and making it make sense. So needless to say, with this article, or with this new news, or breaking news, or whatever you want to call it, whether or not it's true, what we do know for a fact is that Wendy Williams will not be back for the remainder of this year. And they are already saying that she will not be back in 2022. And there are speculations that the show will definitely be canceled. So yeah, that's a lot. Like, Wendy has been through a lot in the past couple years. I mean, everything from You know, she knew her husband had another woman for, you know, over a decade. But for, I guess their deal was, as long as you don't have any babies, you know, have at it. And so he broke that. Kelvin Hunter broke that rule. And so, you know, she sees her marriage falling apart with him, you know, getting reckless like that. And, you know, the fallout with the son, her mother passes away, you know, she has whatever substance issues she was having. And then her health started to, well, the health was kind of declining throughout all of that as well. And so, and now, you know, like her lifeblood, we all know, was like this show. She loved this show. And so she's lost a lot. It was like the story of Job, like the Wendy Williams version of the story of Job. And I'm not laughing at her, just the irony of it all. And so it also made me start to wonder or think, because I'm a thinker. So it started to make me think, did Kelvin Hunter know this? Like, you know, was her health declining? It probably was. Was he privy to some of this and figured, she's going to need me, her health is declining in a way where she's going to be dependent on me, and that means that I can get reckless because she won't leave me at this point. Like, there's no way that she will leave me, because who else will take care of her? That was a random thought that crossed my mind. Like, did he know? And did he like plan to just be reckless and thought she would never leave him because now she has failing health? I don't know, but it was just a thought. What you guys think about that? And then the other part I was thinking about, you know, once she got the divorce from Kelvin, she really was talking about, you know, getting back on the dating scene and how she really was, you know, a wife kind of woman. Like, she loves marriage. She wanted to be married again, etc. And now looking at this particular situation, it's kind of like, wow, this may be something else that may be taken from her, like the possibility of her being able to start a relationship, because right now, as far as we know, she's not dating anyone. And if she's wheelchair bound and struggling with potentially dementia, I don't see dating in that fitting in so well. And that means that her dreams of being a wife again have also possibly been taken from her. And so it's really heavy when you think about her life, how much loss she has experienced in the past, 2 years or so, 2 to 3. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then you have the other side of it. You have, you know, the naysayers. They're out there. They're everywhere, the naysayers. And so you have people who are looking at the situation and saying, well, I wonder if her deteriorating health is caused by, they said she had COVID. I don't know about that, but because they put out a lot of stuff when they're trying to cover up stuff. So, but, supposedly she had COVID. Also, we do know that there was, a life journey of substance abuse in her adulthood. And so you have that, and people are wondering if that, with a little bit of karma, are all culminated to cause the deteriorating health that we are now seeing. And it seems pretty rapid, to be honest, like when you really think about it as well. So, but I don't know, I was going to say some people, but especially celebrities, when they do have health problems, they're going to hide it until they can't hide it anymore. Because it equals money, not only for them, but, all of the people who back them. And so the production company that backs, Wendy, and then there's a staff that depends on her as well. So it's kind of good reason also not to share things sooner than you absolutely have to. So I get that. Totally, I get that. But yeah, it's just that, I have heard the karma word almost every time that one of her hot topic issues, life issues have come out. Everything from, Kelvin having a baby on her, then her getting the divorce, and, all of those sort of things that people are saying that Wendy has not necessarily been the most compassionate person in her career as a, started out as a radio DJ, and, you know, moved into television in recent years. Well, I guess the last decade almost now. Yeah, just, she kind of planted a lot of, you know, black seeds. So, yeah, people were speculating on that piece. And I won't lie and say it hasn't crossed my mind. I don't wish it on her in that way, but I am a true believer in karma, and, you know, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm saying it, but I'm trying not to say it. But I'm not saying that I wish it on her, but I'm just saying of attraction, energy, all of that stuff, it flows. We can't control that stuff. It's just there. So, yeah. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. So, anyway, back to the show. So, as many of us know, since Wendy has not been there and they couldn't push back the, you know, season premiere any longer, they have now been having guest hosts. And one of the guest hosts, well, I would say I only watched 2 of them. It was two people that I really was interested in, that I actually like. And one was Leah Remini. And I really, besides not recognizing her, I was like, whose face does she have? But she wasn't good. She wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. I did watch one of her hot topics that she had with Michelle Visage, which is one of her good friends and also RuPaul's best friend. So I did watch that because I actually like Michelle Visage too. And Michelle actually added to that segment because Leah by herself, it was ugh. So needless to say, I didn't watch her the rest of her week. But then we have the all-star that everyone is talking about and raving about, is Sherri Shepherd, who I did watch her entire week. You know, I was watching the clips on YouTube and stuff, but I watched her entire week, and I will say that there were times I was watching and I would forget that it's not her show. She was just that good. And from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of buzz on social media with people saying, you know, bring Sherri back, you know, et cetera, et cetera. She owned it. She owned it and did a really, really, really good job. And I really think she could hold her on with the talk show. Really, she really has proved it. And the truth is, she has experience. You know, she was on The View for, I think, close to a decade or whatever. So she has that experience. She's a comedian. You know, she's an actress as well, and in movies and TV and all of that. So, yeah, I really think that she did an amazing job. So I decided, I like to do this crazy stuff. I decided to come up with my pros and cons of why Sherri should have Wendy's seat. And even though the truth is they need to cancel the show and then have Sherri have her own show. I don't think it's going to be a good vibe if she kind of takes over the show. Just create a new show and put it in the same time slot. Same thing. But anyway, as I was saying, one of the pros for me of Sherri Shepherd having her own show is that she is a comedian. And as we saw during her week, she was keeping the laughs coming. Like it was constant. And I really respected her more as a comedian because I honestly didn't think she was as big of a comedian as what she actually is until recently, because I also follow her and Kim Whitley on Two Funny Mamas, and they have a podcast and they also have a YouTube channel, and I just watch the YouTube videos, which is the podcast. They are very funny together. It's wild and crazy and it's very loose and all of that, but I really got to liking Sherri in a different way through watching her on Two Funny Mamas, and kind of, you know, she shares, you know, her personal life and things like that. So you kind of get a feel, and her history, her, you know, what she's, her career and all of those things. So I've definitely learned a lot about Sherri from, you know, watching Two Funny Mamas. So I highly recommend it, you know. Also, Sherri is very witty, as we saw. Like, she was just sharp. She was just on it. She was able to take the hot topics and those stories and just create witty banter around them, and even engaging Norman with some of it. So yeah, that was another pro. And The other thing, this is a big one actually in talk show world, is that because Sherri is an actual Hollywood celebrity and she's connected, like she knows a lot of people, and she's not threatening like Wendy. People were scared of Wendy. People were scared to come, definitely on her radio show, but even on her television show, especially in the first years, people were really scared to come on there because they didn't know how she was going to come for them or what was going to happen and the questions she was going to ask, because, you know, Wendy will sneak a question in there. So with Sherri, you won't have those sort of issues. And I think more celebrities and higher end celebrities might feel more comfortable coming on her show. And you got to remember, she was on The View for years. So she got to interview presidents and you know, you name it, you know, A-list celebrities and things like that. So, or people like that. So she has that going for her as well. The other piece, and this is no shade, it's no shade, but she is not a substance abuser. She doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't do any kind of drugs. And that's a good thing when it comes to someone who is whose name is on the marquee of a show. Like, you know, the show runs on that person's back. So I believe that because she does not have, you know, any substance issues, we wouldn't have to necessarily worry about that. She's overall healthy. You know, she definitely tries to eat healthy and all of that good stuff. So that's important as well. And you know what I was really surprised by that I love, and this is another pro, is that she was able to be pretty raw on national TV, yet be family friendly at the same time. So the jokes, some of those jokes were very raunchy, but the way that she was able to do it, if you were a kid, you know, it slid right up under their radar. They didn't notice at all. But us adults were like getting our life. It felt like I was at a comedy set. So without her having to curse and use vulgar language. So that's a talent. That's a talent. And I think that's another pro, because it took the show up a few notches. Like, it's daytime TV, but it gave you a little bit, you know, of nighttime. like when you go to the midnight show at a comedy club. So I really did like that part of it. And then the other piece is that Sherri is very opinionated. So I feel like, based on, you know, what I know from watching her on Two Funny Mamas, you know, for, I don't know, it's been close to 2 years, I think. Well, over a year, definitely over a year, because I think they started the show during the pandemic. So anyway, I've been watching it since almost they started the podcast or started the show. And so I feel like Sherri was still holding back because it was a show. And, you know, yeah, I believe she was giving, you know, TV Sherri, and also holding back in a way because it wasn't her show. But I do believe that if she was given her own platform, that she would show even more of the opinionated side of her. Because, you know, she has a little beast in her. She's very strong. And that has been surprising to find out. Because on The View, she just seemed like, you know, the weak, you know, person who wasn't necessarily the sharpest on the stage. And she's really totally the opposite. So yeah, so that's my list of pros. And in my list of cons, it's a little short. So one of the cons I was thinking as I had been watching, you know, days of the Hot Topics, the Hot Topics started to feel like a comedy set a little bit. And I was like, will we get tired? Like, I wasn't tired of it from that week, but I was just thinking in the sense of long term, would we get tired of a daytime show where someone is basically seeming to do a comedy set for 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever they have of Hot Topics every single day? So I don't know. It's just a question. I don't know. Maybe we would, maybe we would not. I don't know. But it's just something that crossed my mind, because as I was listening, I was like, okay, these are like just joke. So I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Also, I did start to notice that during the Hot Topics, almost every story she flipped into being about her in some way. So she talked about herself a lot. And again, first week could be her trying to help the audience get to know her, etc. I don't know. But yeah, if she's going to talk about herself a lot, you might get burnt out on that. I don't know. Maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. Let me know in the comments below. The other con is that, now this is a contradiction to what I just said in the pros, which was she's very Hollywood, which means, you know, connected and knows people and can get people on the show. Well, the con to that, because, you know, a coin has two sides. The con to that is that with her being so very Hollywood, unlike Wendy, who was really on the outside, or is, let me not talk about her in past tense, like Wendy, who is on the outside of Hollywood, Wendy can go in on everybody because she really doesn't have any friends. Like, this is just the truth. We all know this. I'm not coming for her. We know this. It's facts. Wendy doesn't really have a lot of Hollywood friends, and so she could talk about everybody and not really care. Whereas Sherri Shepherd would not really be able to do that in the same way because she's so connected, and, you know, she has jobs and she's trying to get jobs, and so she ain't trying to mess up her bag. So that, I think, and that could, honestly, now that I'm thinking about the last con, that could be why she preferred to talk about herself more than the people they were highlighting in Hot Topics. Maybe she was trying not to accidentally say anything that was piss somebody off and mess up her bag. So that's something to consider. But again, her show doesn't have to necessarily be Hot Topics and dragging people and all of that. The other one, and the last con, is her schedule. So I'm already seeing on the Two Funny Mamas podcast, which obviously if she gets a daytime talk show, she would probably have to leave that show as well, her podcast with Kim Whitley. But what I'm seeing already, even with the podcast, now that COVID is over and their schedules have returned to normal, so to speak, Sherri, it's hard for her to get home to show now because she's filming movies, she's doing TV shows, she's all over the place, and you know, she's at that level, and that's good for her. You know, she's making her bag, and she does comedy, so she'll like do comedy sets at night during the week and all of that. So it makes me say, will she really have time for a daytime talk show 5 days a week and still, you know, do those other things? Or, you know, would she have to back up on those things? And I don't know, maybe she would prefer that. She's done it before with The View, so maybe she would prefer it in the sense of it's consistent income and it's, you know where you're going every day. It's a daily commute to the same place. So some people like that. Some celebrities like that. The fact that, you know, they're not chasing the bag constantly because they're hustlers. They have to. So I don't know, but that's all I have on that. I guess another pro is that, for those of you who may know a little closer, Sherri Shepherd has a son, Jeffrey, and Jeffrey actually wants to move back to New York. He's saying as soon as he graduates high school, because they're living in LA now, that he's going to leave her and go back to New York, where his father happens to be as well. But he loves New York. He does not really care for LA. So if she gets a talk show and it ends up in New York, you know, she'd be back in New York where her son wants to live too. So that's another pro. So with that, nevertheless, with everything that I've said in this video, keep in mind that as of the date of this recording, nothing has been confirmed from Wendy or her camp of people about her health or if any of this is true whatsoever. So we need to keep that in mind. I just wanted to chime in on it and get my commentary because, you know, y'all know I'm interested in some things more than others. And definitely when it comes to Wendy Williams, I hadn't done any recent videos on any of the stuff that was going down, even though I was paying attention. But yeah, I definitely wanted to get my commentary on this one because it was big, it was deep, and I care. So, I mean, I really, truly am praying for Wendy that, you know, she gets healing physically, mentally, emotionally, and that she makes a full recovery. Like, I hope that's still a possibility. I mean, all things are possible with God, you know. By his stripes, we are healed. So hopefully this will be one of those miracle stories in modern time. You know, and it also reminds me of something I have heard growing up, where it's been said, and I don't know where it comes from, but you know, it's somewhere official. But you can have all the riches in the world, but without your health, it's all meaningless. And I think this is a prime example of it, because sometimes, you know, we, all of us, including me, get so caught up in money and the paper chase and, ooh, when I become rich, or when this happens, or, you know, oh, if I had this kind of money, you know, life would be perfect. Yeah, if you got your health too. Money's not everything, and this proves it. We're talking about a woman who's worth well over $50 million, if you know, from what I hear. And unfortunately, her health has declined so much that I'm sure she would give away a ton of that money to have her health be back at 100%. So with that, sending prayers, good vibes, all of that to Wendy Williams, her family, you know, because when it comes to stuff like this, the family suffers as well as the person who is ill. So sending the vibes their way as well. With that, until next time, until I upload the next video, I feel all somber, but I guess I should be. Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy. But anyway, until next time, until I upload the next video, make sure to like this one. And then take care and be blessed. Peace.